Hey, everybody out there. Welcome to the Way Back from Hell podcast. Look, everyone has been through hell, and most people would admit that it's made them into the person they are today. Yet we rarely talk about it. Instead, we focus on what more we have to achieve or do, a never-ending game of the mind. Are you sick of hearing more information from the mind from people who seem to have it all figured out? Are you ready to tap into the depths of your heart and soul in order to return to the truth that you are already whole? Get ready for more vulnerability, more raw authenticity to move the core of your being, the greatest pains and the most profound wisdom and joy you've ever experienced in your life, all in one podcast. Welcome to Way Back from Hell, the podcast where we begin by diving deep into the core pain and hell story of each person and how that has sculpted their soul to become whole. We give you heart and realness right from the get-go, and then trust the flow of Source Divine God to take over from our heart space into its grace and let it flow from there and beyond. Get ready. Today, I have a very, very special guest for episode number 2, my first official guest. Kris Konsap is a man on a mission. Look, I talked to him once and he said his mission is to inspire 100 million lives. And when you get to know this guy and the realness that he carries in the depth of his soul, you'll know that this is the truth. You'll know that this man is going to achieve this in one way or another. He is driven, he is entrepreneurial, he has a strong mindset, he is physically fit, he is built for this kind of massive mission and this vibration. So a little bit about Kris. He's a transformational entrepreneur with a mission to help thousands of people create a new way of being. He loves traveling and meeting brilliant people all over the world. He loves hiking, going to the gym, learning languages to keep him inspired and in great shape physically and mentally. He is committed to living an extraordinary life in every way possible and to inspiring others to do the same. For more than a decade, he has been on a personal development journey, has changed his life in ways he could not have imagined when he started. He sees so much potential in people, and now he is helping them see how powerful they are. So I want to give you an official warm welcome, Kris Konsap. Welcome to the podcast, Way Back from Hell.
Hi, Sabin. It's really good to be here. Thank you so much for such a powerful introduction. I'm so glad that our paths crossed, and now we can create some magic together, and help other people improve their lives in so many different ways. So thank you so much for having me here.
You're so welcome, and I could not agree more with that statement. I'm so grateful that our paths crossed, and Toastmasters was where we started, and there was just an automatic just resonance there. It was just there. It was undeniable. It was like we were meant to meet, and excited to see the ways this continues to exploit and explode out and parse out to the world and to people that really need to hear the message of authenticity. But as this podcast is called Way Back from Hell, Kris, I want to start with one core question because I want everyone to understand your heart and the pain you've been through so they can connect with you heart to heart before we give them any great information. I don't want them to not be able to relate to you. So, Kris, if I had to ask you this first question, I would ask very simply, tell us about your health story. What have you been through and how did you overcome it?
When I was like exploring my health story, then I identified at least one health story per a decade of my life. But this one that I wanted to share was um, from the last decade, but it was 6 years ago, and it's something that profoundly shaped my life and put me on a totally different path than I was on before. What happened 6 years ago was my daughter was born, and everything was good. We found out that we are going to become parents, and it was very exciting and a very scary time at the same time. And we went through the checkups, and everything was good. There was nothing going on. It's like, yeah, we have some time to be prepared to welcome this beautiful human being into this world. And the day came. It was the 20th this December of 2017, and we went to the hospital, and the birth went very well, and it was like, wow, okay, this is very exciting, like one of the most transformational days of a person's life usually. And soon after, the doctors started running around and they were very worried. And I was looking like, what's going on? What's happening? Like they were just tilting their head and watching different measurements, and they were so worried about everything. And my heart started pumping, and a million thoughts raced through my head. Like, what is going on? Nobody told me anything, and nobody knew anything. There were problems with her blood sugar. It was too low. Also, her oxygen levels were too low in the body. And they started doing different tests and everything. And then she was taken to another hospital, to a bigger one, where there was even more advanced medical care. And we stayed in the hospital for 1 month. Like she always had some struggles. Yeah, she didn't handle the life. You know, she needed support. She needed some additional glucose and additional oxygen. She couldn't handle the situation, and it was very tough because like the world just collapsed. Everything was taken away from us as parents. The old life, it just ceased to exist because there was so much unknown. Even in usual life, there's so much unknown every day, but this time we didn't know what's gonna happen. We didn't even know if she's going to make it because we didn't know what the problem was. They did all kinds of different tests, and about 1 month after she was born, she was diagnosed with a very rare genetic disorder. And there are only 1,000 cases in the world. And yeah, the diagnosis was that there's about a 30% chance that she's not gonna survive the first year. And after that, if she's going to make it, the chances are much better. But still, nobody can predict what's going on because the disorder is affecting her whole body. And yeah, it was very tough to handle the situation. As you can imagine, there was a lot of fear, there was a lot of tears, there was a lot of also anger, also because, you know, why did it happen, and what's going on? Like, why did we deserve this? And it was just an emotional roller coaster. Like sometimes we try to just calm ourselves down, and it could happen for a brief moment, but then it just these different emotions came up again. And yeah, when I look back, I'm like really getting emotional because that was crazy, really. That was hell, definitely. Like I had to bring up a hell story. That was that was crazy.
Thank you so much for having the courage to not only share that today, but to make it through that experience, to go through something so dramatically life-changing and such intense suffering. And I can't even imagine, you know, as you took us into your inner world of what was going on inside, and maybe you can even extrapolate a little more on that. Like, what was it? What was the biggest fear you had going in? And what ultimately comes out now looking back as the greatest lesson that you learned from this experience?
When I look back and like explore the emotions that I had, and I think the biggest fear was that my life will never be the same. Like
Mhm.
I am not in charge anymore. That was the biggest fear. I just felt that the circumstances took over my life. Now I have to like align my life with this new situation, and I cannot make plans for myself anymore. And I felt like it was definitely related to the ego. You know, I thought that I want to travel, I want to be free, I want to do all of these things, and now I have to take care of somebody who will probably never be able to live their own life. You know, just this fear that I'm not in charge anymore. You know, something else is uh, controlling my life now. That was a big fear. And also the fear of future, like what is happening? What do we have to do now? And um, how can we manage the situation, and what what her future is going to be? That was scary. And also he asked about lessons.
Mhm.
There were quite a few.
I
There
can
were quite a
imagine.
few. Um, First of all, like one of the main thing was that we learned to be in the present moment, because whenever we started thinking about the future, there was a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear. But when we came to the present moment, living one day at a time, it was more manageable. And also, we realized that we don't know how much time we have with her. So when we are in the present moment, we can just enjoy this moment because it's all we have. So after that, I became much more present. Also, I became more patient. So what happened was that she had trouble sleeping in the first year of her life, like most babies do. Some babies have trouble sleeping for a year or two, and she also had some struggles falling asleep, for example. So she was crying a lot, and for hours on end, and that really got on my nerves. You know, she was pushing my buttons, and she wasn't just pushing them, she was jumping on them, you know, like relentlessly. I just felt that there was so much anger coming up because we were sleep deprived, and it was really easy to get us triggered by the crying, and you know, that I just want this to end, and I got so angry. There was at some point, like when it really clicked. It was like I cannot live like this anymore, and I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to be triggered by external circumstances. I want to be zen, whatever happens. And what led me there was months of being sleep deprived and being at this crazy roller coaster. But eventually, I understood that I don't want to suffer anymore, and it's up to me to decide whether I am getting angry or not. It's up to me. And from that moment onwards, I didn't get triggered anymore, whatever was going on. I was peaceful because I felt like I'm in charge again, because I wasn't in charge of what was going on with her, or her diagnosis, but I was in charge of my own state.
Yes. It's like you had to shift to a new order of being and taking charge, and even like the discipline or the taking charge or control could no longer be about the outside world, but what you could control is the inner state and the inner mastery that you cultivate each and every moment. So then when the outside world, it's like this propelled you into a way of living that is surrendering to the inner space inside, instead of, it's very masculine to want to control everything and control the events, and what about my plans. There, it sounds like it shifted you to a whole higher order of being that's a sweet, more feminine surrender element, where you do control something, but that's inner mastery. You do control something, that's your inner state. but you let everything else take its place. And you learn to say, I'm going to be at peace with all that is. So tell me a little bit more about how you or how you would recommend somebody is having chaos in their life, has been through hell, it's testing their patience, it's testing their presence, it's testing all of these things. How did you exactly make this shift? And how can somebody make the same shift?
Think first of all, like this kind of situations are pretty much necessary to make this shift. So that's one of the things, understanding this, that it's that's this kind of situation is actually needed. You know, this kind of emotional charge. We really need to have that as human beings. Like when I read your the description of the podcast is that, you know, we don't need more information anymore, and I totally agree with that, because when we have just information and we don't have the emotion, then nothing happens. And these kind of situations in life, these circumstances, they bring so much emotional energy, you know, that actually helps us tweak the things inside of us. That kind of energy is pushing the changes. For me, it was just, you know, not enjoying that situation anymore. For me, it was what it was really about. The essence of it was that I didn't want to tolerate this behavior anymore from my own being. It was empathy towards my daughter, because when I was angry, I behaved in a way that I didn't want to. You know, she was suffering, she was crying, she was probably in pain quite a lot of time, not just because of her condition, but just, you know, like the baby problems. And I was thinking about myself. I was directing attention to myself, like I cannot sleep, I'm you know, suffering, but I directed my attention towards her. Like this small human being was suffering, and I was complaining about my own life, and I didn't want to tolerate it, because my life was still, in general, it was good, you know. And I said, I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. That's the difference between wanting something and actually making a change, not tolerating the situation. If we are still tolerating the thing, it's probably the pain is not big enough,
Yeah.
or we don't want something enough, you know, or the effort is too big to make the change. That's the thing. Like when people say that they want something and they don't have it, very often it's like they don't really want it, or they don't want it enough, or
Yeah.
it's not causing them any kind of discomfort.
Enough. The word
Enough
that, or
discomfort.
emotion, like you said, because you said emotions are the catalyst for change. I love that point. And so it's like if we haven't been through enough pain, which hasn't stirred up enough anger or emotion, like for you, anger. And then it seems like what happened though is that your daughter helped you transcend yourself. When your daughter was very little, the anger and the emotion propelled this sense of self-transcendence where you somehow got out of yourself and said, it's not all about me and my suffering. And you somehow made a shift from the emotions of anger and frustration to like deep empathy and love. That's it. I just want to commend you on that. I feel that, and I want to commend your daughter because she served as a catalyst. She was a mirroring presence to enable this spiritual awakening in you. And I think a lot of the new generation, you know, children and babies that are coming to this earth have so much to teach us. And for me, who's having a son in a few months, and sensing his soul, I already know that he has so much to teach me. So it's so cool to see how this simple act that's like babies just crying, like you can't imagine that their soul is actually teaching you a divine lesson in that moment, and that their soul came down to cry in that moment and go through that pain in order to teach you that lesson. Like it's just, I don't know if you saw it as that clearly, but I see it so clearly.
I started seeing that, not immediately, but it took a while when I started seeing it more and more. And even when she was 2 or 3 years old, I still had this like, why did this happen sometimes, you know, or, you know, I wish it could be different or stuff like that. uh, today I have reached to a point where I said that I'm never gonna say to myself again that it was a bad thing, or it was like why did it happen. And now I've like reached to this point that to see it as a gift. I call my daughter my greatest spiritual teacher. They are here to give us these lessons. There have been so many, really. Yeah. So everything you said is so spot on. Like, she helped me transcend my life, and I totally believe that I invited her here, and she
Yeah,
decided to come here in this kind of form and in this kind of being to really to help me. Yeah.
I completely believe that too. I think that's the soul chooses, and the parents choose, and the baby chooses, and ultimately for evolvement and for growth and for all these kind of things. But it's a blessing that this daughter picked you. It's truly amazing. It seems like that this suffering has taught you so much. Could you even say that looking back, and I think you just said this, but I just want to reiterate it, looking back on the suffering, as many do who come out of suffering transformed, they are grateful. They are grateful. I am grateful that I went through this. Nobody can, and I'll just curse because I want to emphasize the point, nobody can fucking see it in the moment. It's nearly impossible. And I'm working on a book, not actively writing it, but I'm working on a book called The Transformative Power of Suffering that's trying to be a guidebook for people in the moment where they can get the same perspective they have looking back. Because everybody looking back, not the people that got destroyed by suffering, that ended their own lives, whatever, that destroyed them, and they're doing drugs or whatever, not them, but the people that came out transformed will always be grateful for that suffering that happened. And that sounds like that's exactly what you've learned. And I feel like suffering always is a harbinger for transformation and for deep lessons. And it sounds like you've gone through so many of them. But what I want to ask you, and I believe I have this question right, is if there is one lesson that you've learned, what is, if you haven't answered already, what is the hardest lesson you've ever had to learn and overcome, and why?
Um, the hardest lesson that I've had to learn is letting go. It's like, usually it's just an instantaneous decision, but it takes often it takes months or years to decide to let go. And whenever we do that, it's just like a heavy burden gets lifted off of our shoulders. Yeah, so in this situation, I had to learn to let go of my expectations of anything, to let go of my plans, to let go of even fear. There was so much to let go of, because it just the inner saboteurs, they started, um, adding fuel to the fire, and I was like, I have to let go. Yeah,
Uh,
because yeah, these things didn't serve me. Just, yeah.
what does what did the internal process look like for you to actually let go? Like, why are you better able to let go now than you were maybe a few years ago? What is the choice you have to make? Like, is it just saying in your mind, like, okay, I'm gonna let this go? Is it like feeling it and releasing it? Like, what helps you let go easier? Just for anyone who listens to this, because people, I know people hear this all the time, like, just let go. And they're like, it's so stupid, fucking simple, but I can't do it. What does your process look like?
Well, one thing is also the element is also pain, suffering.
Mm,
Like I said, the suffering is transformational power, and we know that Viktor Frankl proved that concept. And I'm in the same boat from my own life experience. And after getting tuned into Viktor Frankl's work, and also talking to people, being here right now and hearing it from you, is that we need this kind of emotional power, and pain is actually one of those things that helps us grow. And when you have this kind of pain, then this is a really good time to make this decision. But it was, again, actually, it was the same thing, that I wasn't ready to tolerate this thing anymore, because I was carrying this pain with me and I wanted to feel better. I wanted to live a better life. And this thing was just draining me and taking my energy. But
Mm,
definitely the internal processes are like just saying commands to my conscious and subconscious mind that I am letting this go. It's gone now, like poof. And when I really mean it and when I feel it, then it works. It does work. And now it's like it doesn't take a long time. With some things it does, but then I
hmm.
realized that, oh, I should let it go. It's actually quite easy. Because I know that there's another belief that something better is coming. When I let this go, then something better is coming. And one of those things is that I know that when I hold this baggage, then I'm actually preventing the good things from coming. So that is one belief that helps me let go. So when I looked at my own life, I was like adding stuff as well. And I know that when I just keep adding and not removing, then eventually I can't add anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, letting go, it's what happens there is that we feel that we are losing something. We don't want to lose anything. So the mentality is like, if I let that go, I'll lose that. But the thing is that when I associate letting go with winning something, then that helps to let go, believing that something better is coming instead of this.
Yeah. So it sounds like you've changed your belief around what it means to let go, and that's shifted your ability to let it go. And the other thing you said is you feel it. I am letting this go, and you feel it in every cell of your being. Your belief is shifted, your emotion is shifted. And then you also said, and when you're in enough pain, and you also have a yearning, I want something different. I want a better life, but this is where I'm at. Now I'm going to shift my belief, shift my emotion, if I may piece this all together, and then I'm able to actually let that go. So I just try to create like a little formula based on what you said. Um, so it's almost like an equation. It's like pain plus yearning plus thought shift plus emotion shift equals letting go. So something like this. And because you have to align the mind and the emotion. If you just let go on the mind level, it stays stuck in your energy system, it stays stuck in your emotions. And if you don't have the pain, you don't even have a reason to let go. Pain forces you beyond yourself. It forces you to let go of what you thought you know. And then having a yearning is saying, I will not tolerate this anymore because I know something better is coming, aligning with that belief. All of this is necessary.
You have a pretty accurate formula of how it works. They're definitely the main elements.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from, but it just comes down and comes through. Like, I don't know, it's just like intuitive hits I'm getting as you're talking, and then somehow I pray and then I just piece them all together.
I can say that you are really good in this,
Yeah.
sensing of what's going on and the energy and everything.
Thank you. Yeah, because it's like I'm here to contain, like, I think what a podcast is about is like I'm here to contain you in your space and then synthesize it in a way that my audience can understand it even clearer, even easier. Like you come in with your energy, they're used to my energy. So I want to be able to simplify everything. Like everything you said was simple and easy to apply, but I want to make it like ground it all the way down so it's as digestible as possible. I do think I do have a gift for that. I'm realizing in this moment.
That's so good.
So I'm going to ask you a strange, kind of strange question, but not so strange if you know me, which you know me, is there anything on your heart that you would like to share with the audience right now? I know you had a free gift you might want to talk about. Is there anything that you're feeling called to that would make you feel complete in this podcast? Like I feel complete because I got this off my heart. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, I had one gift that I shared with you. I was just thinking about like what is one thing that is like the underlying thing, but that all people could benefit from, and it's quite kind of simple, but at the same time, it's so often overlooked. and it's improving sleep. We can see the graphs, and we can see that the average sleep time is declining, as as we go by. And I found that for myself, when I sleep better, like everything is much better. My emotional state is better. My energy is better. My creativity is better. I feel these emotions, like making these decisions. It requires a certain emotional state, and this like really good sleep helps me be in that kind of state. And one more thing that for me, it was very powerful when I did this. I removed so many things from my life that didn't resonate with my energy anymore. And I see when I share this with people, they are like, yeah, I should do this too, because they feel it. So what I did is I organized my inbox, my email inbox. I organized my messaging apps and deleted old groups that I don't belong to anymore and I'm not active in. I organized my desk and my environment so it's more clean. It's pure and clean. And I recommend everybody take inventory in their life and to see what doesn't belong in their life anymore. It's the same thing. It's removing before adding. If we just want to add things, new projects, new stuff, and the old stuff is still there, the energies don't mix and we're confused.
Yeah. And it's like external and internal. Like you have to let go and remove the thoughts and the emotions that you don't want anymore. But because the outside and inside world are mirrors of each other, if you're just like all clutter on the outside and you're trying to let go on the inside, good luck. And if you're just trying to let go on the inside and there's stuff on the outside, like it works hand in hand. So it's so smart of you to do that. No wonder people say, wow, I really resonate with that. It's like, of course. Like when you clean that up, your mind gets stiller, your mind gets quieter, your mind gets more focused, and it's that new energy you can use for creative productivity and all the things that you're meant to do. So you're actually aligning more with who you are and more with your divine purpose by doing that. So that's a simple tool. I hope everyone listening to this takes away. Like if you do one thing from this podcast, besides take tons of value forward, one simple thing is just clean out your inbox, clean out your messages, clean out your house, just like these kind of things. Very simple. Like I'm saying this for me because these are the things that I forget to do. I'm good at letting go in the inner world. I do all the work on that, the meditation, the breath work, the yoga, whatever, and the quantum flow. And this is the kind of stuff I ignore. So I really needed that. Thank you.
I'm happy that I can be of service.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes my heart sing when I can share something that makes people's lives better.
Yeah, I think we both can share that. I think I have that exact same like yearning. Like when I share something and someone resonates with it and they love it and they get it and they're just like in awe of it and it transforms their life. It's like it puts light in my eyes. Like you can see it right now. It's just like, oh my
Yeah.
God, like wow, like this is amazing. Like I wish I could do this all day, every day. Like I think you and I both love and why we will impact so many lives and are impacting so many lives in this lifetime is because we love it. It's as simple as that. If you do what you love, you'll automatically impact lives. And if you love to impact lives, then you're going to impact even more lives.
That's so true.
Okay. I'm feeling like let's wrap this up here. I'm feeling like it's coming to a close. I like to make sure these aren't too long because I think if people look at podcasts and they're like, oh, it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, they're not going to want to listen. I think we've got a lot of information covered here. I think people, you have so much value. People, audience, you have so much value to take from this in just a short bit of time. Maybe it's been 30 minutes, 35 minutes, something like this, I'm pretty sure. So I just want to say one more time, thank you so much, Kris. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on this podcast way back from hell. Thank you for being my first guest. It is an absolute honor. And thank you for sharing your hell story and everything after that.
Thank you, Sabin, for doing this. And it's been a big honor to be here with you and to share this story with people. And in the past, it wasn't easy at all, but it has become much easier to do that. And yeah, it was in the past, it was hard to express myself, but now it's like I know that this is what I want to share. And what I want to help people with is that whatever circumstances you have in your life, it's all good. And especially with parents with who have children with special needs, I want to help them see their children as their gifts. It's
Mm.
my message. Thank you so much for having me here, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, you too, Kris. And it sounds like your story, your painful health story is becoming ultimately your act of service, which is a beautiful bridgeway. That's exactly how suffering is supposed to start and end. It starts in suffering and ends in service. So thank you so much, Kris. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. This is the Way Back from Hell podcast, the one and only Way Back from Hell. And we'll see you next time.